A very good morning. Happy Thursday and welcome to the Early Edge. As you can see, I am still in New York. It was an incredible night last night. We're going to talk more about that in just a second. But first, let's do what we always do at the beginning of the show on the Early Edge. Let's take a look at the recap screen. Like I said, 2 to 3 pretty good weeks. And then 2 days in a row where we have a losing recap screen, 2 and 5. Calvin, he hits his, and we got a plus money play with Martin Green. Amags did call a Jazz Chisholm home run. And I will say that the SportsLine model, which we have to take a look at because this is amazing. Not only did the SportsLine model have Jazz Chisholm, but it had all 3 home runs picked. We're going to show you that, and we're going to have Mackenzie address that. So, yeah, we had a losing 2 and 5 recap screen, but I know a lot of you had the home run props selected. So more on that in just a second. But let's go ahead and bring in the stars of the show. Hopefully my connection is good because, Larry, I have so much to talk to you about. Mackenzie, I have so much to talk to you about. And PropStarz, not only did you come with baseball today, but you're outfitted with an NFL prop, which I absolutely love. But, Larry, I got to start with you. Yesterday was awesome, and we're going to talk about it right now. But yesterday was awesome because of what the next one is going to be. I am so excited about the next one already, which, of course, we have not planned yet. But just seeing this group together and so many of the Early Edge fans together, it was really great. I'm really looking forward to the next one. Here are some pictures. Larry, your response.
Yeah, no, it's so great to meet you, Amags, Danny, Ben, Claudia, everyone in person. And also, guys like Mutandas and Richard Pierre and Ian and Squishy coming down from Boston and Doro coming in despite having a 1-month-old. I mean, Ian and Jared and Ethan and Shai. It was a lot of fun. I'm sorry that Ken's and Alex couldn't make it. I know that maybe we'll do it in a more central location in the country. I think Chicago, there's momentum that seems to be building for Chicago next time. And that would be awesome at Wrigley. I don't want to talk too much about the ball that I dropped. I'm not going to be like one of those guys that makes excuses and notes that it was wet, it was raining, that it was off a deflection, because honestly, I had 2 hands on it. It was right there. And I just dropped it.
Well, Larry, you and I were actually talking at the time. So I do want to, I was kind of distracting. You weren't looking really at the game in that particular moment, but you saw the ball was coming. It bounced off somebody's hands, and then it bounced off your hands. Kind of wish it caromed left instead of right, but it caromed right into some other people. But thank you, Chris Diorio, a.k.a. Doro in our Discord, who actually caught that image. So very happy he was there for that. Richard Pierre in the chat, I caught up with him and so many of you. Ian Lights Out. There was Doro, so many others. Really appreciate everybody being in there. Here's some pictures as well. PropStarz, a little jealous?
Very jealous. I really wish I was in attendance. I had no idea that Larry dropped the ball literally and figuratively. But yeah, I really wish that Larry came down with that foul ball.
Larry Hartstein says, Mikey B is so tall. Yeah, Mike Barner was there, of course. You saw him in the pictures. He is very tall, 6'3". Mackenzie, you got to be a little jealous as well. Are you going to make the next one?
I am a little jealous. I always get FOMO of our fun social events, but I would definitely like to make it to the next one here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Larry, you're talking about momentum for Chicago. I'll be honest with you. Post-game, some of us hung out a little bit. There was a lot of momentum for Philadelphia. Whatever city you want us to come to next, put it in the chat, because I know Philly had a lot of momentum. Chicago was definitely mentioned, but let's hear from everybody. And Mackenzie, I have to hear from you now before we get to picks, because it is not up like the SportsLine and the home run model has been great this entire season. I mean, it's really been great, but it's not often you have 3 home run picks from the model and all 3 of them hit. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, I mean, not to be dramatic, but this is historically probably the most insane run our SportsLine model team has been on. I mean, we're up 28 units over the last 13 days on home run props, 3-0 last night. I mean, even Taft, our new member, he hit 35-1 on the winner of the Travelers Championship, 22-1 on the Rocket Classic here. I mean, he hit every single semifinalist winner for Wimbledon. Like, the squad is up, the blog is alive, and I encourage people to bookmark that blog because the home run props are crushing it, but so is honestly everything else on that page.
Mackenzie, where do people find the blog?
On CBS Sports on the betting site, but you can look at that QR code there, and then we'll link it in this YouTube show as well.
Okay, great. Really, really good stuff. I mean, honestly, there were a lot of people celebrating, and there were so many tweets during the game, and I saw at least one person. Listen, I don't know that people should be parlaying home runs together, right? But there was somebody who put, pizza money. I mean, at least maybe pizza money for them. It was $10, which is to me a significant amount of money to parlay home run props. Nonetheless, that $10 for this early edge viewer was turned into, I think, 1,200 and change. So again, we're not necessarily encouraging putting large amounts of money on parlaying home run props, but to the extent you're okay with betting responsibly for 10 or $5 or $2, it's great to see those returns. So a lot of momentum for this this home run, the model picks in general. Mackenzie, why don't you start us off with a pick for today?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let the home run model do its thing. Props to Jake Fettner and the team for that one. But I'm going to take us to the WNBA on my own vibes here. And we're going to go to this 3:00 game. We're going with the Minnesota Lynx headed to LA. But I do think the Lynx can still cover the 6.5 number. This opened at 9.5. And you saw some steam go to the Sparks because they have this massive rest advantage. They haven't played since last Saturday. However, this is just a way worse team than you're seeing with Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota championship contender. They have MVP leader Nafisa Collier on their team, and Nafisa Collier historically has so much success against the Sparks team. So I think that's a big reason for this as well. You see the Lynx kind of coming off a letdown spot, and while they are on the road in back-to-back games, and maybe that affects your defense and your legs, this is the best defense in the league by miles. So even their, not at their peak defense is still going to be better than the Sparks defense. It's just middle of the pack here, really doesn't have too much to say for themselves. So the Sparks team is an offense that really is struggling to find their stride, even with Kelsey Plum here. But I just see this Lynx team being angry. They've covered spreads this big before. They've covered, 20-point spread, double-digit spreads. I just think this is a get-right spot for them. And maybe this isn't a first quarter play. This isn't a first half play. Maybe they're still getting their feet under them. But I do think by the end of the game, they can certainly cover the 6.5.
All right, Lynx -6.5 at -110. A lot going on in the chat that I know I need to catch up with, but we got to pick in. We've celebrated our day yesterday. We celebrated the home run props yesterday. Now, PropStarz, we got to celebrate the fact that we're 56 days away from NFL season, otherwise known as LT days away. Let's see. LeVar Arrington, one of my favorite players of all time, days away from NFL season. So I know you have an NFL prop, but why don't you kick us off with an MLB play today and then go to the NFL?
Yeah, we got a pitcher prop that I like quite a bit. Miles Mikolas. We're going under 17.5 outs for the Cardinals starter. Miles Mikolas, kind of like the definition of league average. But if we look at his last outing, he gave up 6 home runs in a single outing. Just unbelievable. 8 earned runs total. He also threw, I believe, 109 pitches. And you have to go all the way back to 2023, the last time that Mikolas threw that many pitches in an outing. So I think he's looking at 90 to 95 here maximum. Against the Nationals, who have solid career numbers against Mikolas, but the Nationals have been swinging the bats very well recently. They're ranked, I think, 6th or 7th in OPS and weighted on base average over the last couple of weeks. So it's a more difficult matchup than it may appear at first glance, as the Nationals bats have been performing well. But 6 innings is just a tall order for Mikolas, who's in terrible form right now. Then we're going over to the NFL season-long prop market. This is a position that I absolutely love. I do want to mention that I gave out every single pick that I've wagered thus far on, as far as NFL futures market is concerned, are available in the SportsLine Discord. So this is one of my favorite season-long positions. It's Colson Loveland, the rookie, to go under 650 receiving yards this season. First and foremost, tight end is probably the most difficult position to acclimate to the pros. I believe only 4 tight ends in NFL history have eclipsed 1,000 yards in their rookie season. It's extremely rare. So right off the bat, it's going to be tough for him. Also, he's going to a crowded depth chart where they have another very good pass-catching tight end, Cole Kmet, who's going to be the starter to start the season. They might use a lot of heavy personnel and have a lot of get them both on the field at the same time. But regardless, just 650 yards is a big number for Loveland. You've got Rome Odunze. You've got DJ Moore. They drafted Luther Burden, another wide receiver. You've got Cole Kmet. DeAndre Swift is a good pass catcher. That's 5 or 6 guys who might be ahead of Loveland in the pecking order. And then looking at Loveland, while I'm bullish on his long-term projection, he's a much better blocker, or he's a very good blocker. I really think he's going to be on the field more to block than necessarily in that move role as a pass-catching tight end. So, yeah, I just don't think he's going to see more than maybe 75 to 80 targets, and he's going to need that to eclipse 650 yards. So I love this position on Colston Loveland. I'd make this line 500 yards.
Wow, love it. Larry, I know you had something to add on this as well.
Yeah, well, yesterday Alex dropped all of his NFL positions in the Discord, and he's going to be updating them. So you got to take a look at those, many more plays than that. And that is everything that he is personally on and the units that he placed on each.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing that you did, PropStarz. And that's part of the reason I mentioned it yesterday. Being in the SportsLine Discord, there's so much to gain with really every sport. And frankly, it's not just about the picks. It's about the level of conversation and the intel you can get. You don't have to take every pick, obviously, but just knowing what the analysis is behind a live bet or a future or anything in between, that's really important. And that's kind of why we created the Discord. So all of these people in the Discord, they're very active. I try to be active in the golf chat. Certainly when NFL season comes around, I'll be active in that chat as well. All right. We got more picks to come, but I do want to mention BetMGM account holders will receive a no sweat token to apply to any bet on any sport. That means if your bet loses, you'll receive a bonus bet back. All right. That's a great, the no sweat tokens are always great. It's just basically like a free bet. We got SportsLine picks to get to. We've got my PGA pick to get to. Larry, you have an MLB pick, and I'm sure we have picks from the chat that we need to get to. We're going to get to all of it right after this message from our partners.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
I was not ready for that at 10 a.m. on a
We are
Thursday
back.
morning.
That's great. On the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. A lot going on the chat. Proppy, I got to compliment you because you're receiving compliments from basically the entire chat. A, they like your setup, and B, they believe you have a new mic and that you sound super crisp. Your response?
I do. Thank you for noticing that, chat. Yes, I've got a brand new computer to go along with all new equipment as well. So hopefully I'm coming in clearer. And yeah, thank you for noticing.
Joey B says, impressive. Sia travels with mic and laptop. I did. I traveled with all of my stuff, which isn't super easy, by the way. He says, nice hotel room too. Or is it an Airbnb? No, it is a hotel room right next to Penn Station, where I will be departing New York in, 3 or 4 hours or so. If anybody's in New York and they want to grab lunch with me, absolutely feel free to get in touch with me. Proppy, there is an important betting question before we get to the rest of our bets, and it's about futures. This is a great question from Eric David. Eric and everybody else, Reed Schultz, Jeff Stenberg is in here. He's very upset about the Yankees win yesterday. A-Mags is in here. He's the opposite of upset about the Yankees win yesterday. Everybody hit the like button. But Eric David says, question for Proppy and the experts. Are your futures bets typically one unit or multiple units? What is your philosophy about tying up large percentage of your bankroll for the entire season? Proppy, your response.
Yeah, it's a great question. So personally speaking, I invest very heavily into the futures market. Like I prepare for the futures market long in advance. I think you can find significant value there. The edges are much greater, in my opinion, the season long. It kind of mitigates, having that money locked up for the duration that it is. So a lot of these are multi-unit positions for me. So yeah, I allocate a big chunk of money that I know every season I'm going to put forth into the futures market. But to answer your question regarding Colston Loveland, this is a multi-unit position for me, 3 units to be exact. So I have a lot of confidence in the play. And yeah, I think that you can find pretty significant edges in the futures market. But obviously the caveat being the money will be locked up for a while. So just, something to be aware of and conscious of.
Yeah, if anybody else has, a philosophy on that, hand up. But I mean, it really does come down to, for lack of a better word, the bettor or the consumer. I mean, it's really up to you. What is obviously, Proppy sees value in all of these bets, and he's putting multiple units down on it. But if you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. It's kind of like we are betting for fun largely too, but also we're trying to make money. And if there's going to be value on a futures position, then you should probably hit it. Richard Pierre says Proppy cashed all those Pacers bets and got new equipment. Richard Pierre, PropStarz, and I were talking yesterday at length, and he was complimenting you and so many others in terms of not just following your bets and making money for them, but just the analysis behind the bets. I mean, I'm telling you, we were talking for 20 or 30 minutes, and you were brought up and so many others were brought up. So I want to give Richard Pierre a shout out for that. All right, SportsLine picks and then home run model plays. Mike Soroka is the SportsLine pick, under 17.5 outs at -130. That one courtesy of Prop Bet Guy. Now let's take a look at the MLB SportsLine home run model plays. We've got Aranda, Alonso, and Langford. Plus 460 on Aranda versus plus 560, plus 330 versus plus 400 for Pete Alonso. That is game one, by the way. And Wyatt Langford, plus 365 versus plus 470. Looks like a good amount of value in all three of these. Mackenzie, any response here?
Yeah, it looks like Alonso hasn't had much success necessarily against Charlie Morton in his career, but it also seems like Morton's having one of the worst seasons ever in 10 years. So if there's a time for Alonso to finally get the upper hand here, this might be the play.
All right. And PropStarz, one more question for you before I get to my pick and Larry's pick. If the Michaelis prop is down to 16.5, what are your thoughts there?
Personally, I think that's enough for me to stay away. I just think that it's a significant margin when we're talking about 5 1/3 versus 5 2/3. So yeah, if it's at 16.5, unfortunately, a lot of these props have low handles, so they move easily. I would wait to see if maybe it kicks back up, but I'd hold off at 16.5.
All right. Good response there. Joe Neuenfeld says, I've never felt worse about missing an event. And somebody brought up Vegas, Larry, and we know Joe lives out in Vegas. So I don't know, maybe one of the meetups will be in Vegas. That's certainly up for discussion. I will mention, Joe, you and guys like Jeff Stenberg and Steve Folkerts and so many that are regulars in this chat were brought up by the likes of Richard Pierre and Doro and so many that are in this chat as being a Big Cheesy was brought up too as being kind of a part of this show. And that wasn't brought up by us. It was brought up by the viewers who came to the event. So I hope you all realize how big a part of this show you actually are. Larry, go ahead.
Speaking of Vegas, the OGs of Sportsline will remember that we did run a pick'em contest where we flew the winner out to Vegas to get a free super contest entry. That turned out to be Bob Weir, who became a horse racing expert for us. But the point is that we used to have a annual trip to Vegas with the Sportsline crew. We had a lot of fun. We had bowling competition. We had a lot of gambling. And so, yes, I think that could be in the cards. And there's also a chance, I've been hearing talk about bringing back some of those Pick'em Survivor contests for legit good prizes, but more to come on that soon.
You guys are lucky I wasn't around for the Vegas days. It's probably for the best.
I would attend if we did a meetup in Las Vegas, and I would also propose a early edge. I know Sia would be interested in, Larry, poker tournament amongst all of us as well.
Ooh. And Ken's, you wouldn't have been allowed in the casino though.
Yeah, I probably wasn't 18, but if I was, it'd be pretty cool.
The poker tournament, PropStarz, is a really fantastic idea. We could even attach a charity element to that where 50% goes to, payouts and 50% goes to charity, something like that. We know we have St. Jude's coming up. And speaking of that type of thing, where we're going to have you help us raise money, I do want to tell you, everybody in the chat, don't worry, we'll get to picks in a second. I have an announcement to make about this show on tomorrow's show. And that announcement is going to pertain to you as well, because we might need a little bit of your help in terms of the follow-up to that announcement. You can probably know what direction I'm going here, but it's a pretty big announcement in my opinion, and we want you to be here tomorrow to hear it. I'll probably be talking about it over the next few weeks. We're going to need your help, and it only takes 60 seconds or less to help us. So stay tuned tomorrow for that announcement. All right, let me get to my 3-ball. I'm actually going to the ISCO Championship. I'm going to not the Scottish Open, which is going on right now. I'm going to the ISCO, where I put out outrights on the Best Bets show. One of my outrights was Chris Ventura. I'm taking him in a 3-ball, -130 over Kevin Kisner and Sean O'Hare. Now, you might be thinking, if you bet 3 balls, you're like, why are we laying minus 130 in a 3-ball? Like you normally put out, see, you normally put out plus 110s or plus 135s. Well, the reason is because who Chris Ventura is going up against. Now, Ventura is one of my outrights, not because he's a great course fit over here at ISCO. This is a new course. It's more of a positional course. I have him as an outright because he's so much more talented than a lot of people in this field. He just hasn't quite shown it yet. And we look at Kevin Kisner, his career's kind of over. He's an NBC correspondent. Like, he barely plays at this point. To the extent he does, he's not very good. Sean O'Hare, another guy where I guess the career is winding down because he hasn't played a ton of golf lately. So yeah, I'm laying minus 130 in a 3-ball, but again, it's a positional course, and that's where, in theory, guys like Sean O'Hare and Kevin Kisner can compete. But the talent level of these guys right now, I don't see it at all. So I am very much willing to lay this minus 130. This one, I believe, is in a couple of hours, so you still have time to play it. There's other 3-balls I like Carson Young's 3-ball was plus 110. I kind of like that as well. He's one of my outrights, but I was more willing to play this one. Chris Ventura minus 130 over Kevin Kisner and Sean O'Hare. I'm going to have my eyes on this tournament tomorrow as well, and including the Scottish Open. So we might have bets coming from both, maybe even through the weekend if you're following us on Twitter and the SportsLine Discord. All right, we move from golf back to Major League Baseball. Larry, talk to me.
Yeah, Spencer Strider is definitely making his way back to the form that he had before the UCL surgery, but he's not quite there. Even though he's pitching well, his velocity is only averaging 95.8, which is kind of low for him. It's not in the 99th percentile, like it's in the 70s. He's had several solid starts, but this strikeout number that I got, 8.5, a little bit too high for me because he's only gone over this one time in 10 starts. He's only pitched more than 6 innings one time in 10 starts. Now he's facing the A's, who are not a great team when it comes to strikeouts, definitely bottom third, but at home they're a little bit better, averaging 8.23 strikeouts per game at home for the entire game. Strider to get 9, in my mind, he's gonna have to go 6 innings for sure. So I went under 8.5 at minus 139. I'm seeing a lot of 7.5s. I would still lean that way, maybe for half a unit, because to me, he's just not as dominant, as explosive, even though he has been pitching well lately.
Okay, good stuff. We're taking the Spencer Strider under 8.5 Ks at minus 139. We'll get to some questions before we get out of here. There are some people that are asking about fantasy football leagues, and this might not be what you had in mind necessarily, but I do want to say that you remember last year we raised a lot of money for St. Jude's through Fantasy Football Today, where I was a commissioner of my own league, and we had other people that were like, obviously, like the guy like Dave Richard and Jamie Eisenberg. There were 12 commissioners. There were 10 or 12 people in each league. And at the time, it was a couple $100 to basically join the league. It was all going to St. Jude, of course. Anyway, we're going to do that again. I'll have more details on that either tomorrow or Monday, but it's going to be kind of the same setup. So I know people were asking about it. I don't know if that's exactly what they had in mind, but obviously we're doing it again. I'm going to run my own league. We're going to have me plus 11 people, and the winner advances to play the other leagues and things of that nature. Same setup as last year. So if anybody's interested in that and willing to donate, a decent amount of money over to St. Jude's to be a part of the league, we're definitely going to be involved in that. Let's see. We already got Nathan Pike. We got your question answered. Big Cheesy says Tom Kim over Justin Rose round 1 matchup minus 130. Has that not gone off yet, Big Cheesy? Either way, I can't support Tom Kim in any way whatsoever. In spite of the fact that his history is good here, I think he is completely lost. So that wouldn't be a bet for me, but maybe it's already gone off. I'm not sure. Sox Nation is asking AMAG's questions in the chat. Let's see. Jeff Stenberg. Oh, okay. So this, I don't even know if that's a real question from Jeff. Proppy, do you like the over in that Nationals-Cardinals game? So that's an interesting question. Proppy, that's Soroka versus Michaelis, right? I mean, I get why Wayne is asking that question.
I do. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on game totals, but I like prop bets guys play quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was also giving that Soroka under 17.5 outs a very good look as well. So yeah, I think both pitchers are pretty shaky, and both offenses have been better as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. Mackenzie, was there anything in the chat that we needed to address?
No, I'm just recruiting people for my fantasy league. I'm taking everyone from your league and putting them on mine.
Wait, Mackenzie, forgive me. Do you commission one of those leagues as well?
Yeah, this year they gave me the keys. I got my own squad now. It's going to be exciting.
That's cool. So you can steal some of my people, but just everybody know that Mackenzie's stealing some of my people. So you have to whoever else needs to come into my league as well. So the same momentum that people built for Chris Diorio, aka Doro, getting that free ticket yesterday, I need that momentum for me to fill my league. Because let's be honest, like they don't all fill like instantly necessarily. And maybe they will this year. It took a couple of days. But if you all are interested in joining that league, again, more details to come. The Fantasy Football Today crew puts such a good fundraiser together, and they've been doing it for so many years, and it raises so much money for St. Jude. So we're really hopeful that everybody can kind of jump aboard and donate in whatever way they feel like they can. Larry, any closing thoughts or closing questions before we get out of here?
No, it was just great to be, with everyone in person. It's just so great, when we're all remote like this, to get together. We're definitely going to do it again. We're definitely going to take the show across the country. And, thanks to everyone who supported, including our marketing team, which the shirts, the hats, the other stuff that we all got.
Yeah, it was very cool. And honestly, when I'm not in a hotel room and I'm back in my confines tomorrow, well, there's Ben with the hat. Ben was there yesterday. Ben is such a great dude, which is not a surprise to anyone, but it was so great for Ben to be there as well. But we have way more to say about that event yesterday and like more announcements and things of that nature. But I know you're also here for the bets, so we're going to do that tomorrow as well. It's BPE Friday. It's going to be great, but certainly more pictures to come from yesterday's event and just more talk about a future event where everybody on this screen hopefully will be there, but many, many more as well. All right, let's get to the recap screen before we get out of here. I'm on a 3-ball this afternoon. This is at a normal time, the ISCO Championship, because it's over in Kentucky. Chris Ventura minus 130 over Kevin Kisner and Sean O'Hare. Then we go to Spencer Strider under 8.5 Ks at minus 139. That one courtesy of the Maestro. PropStarz goes to Miles Michaelis under 17.5 outs at minus 115. And Colston Loveland under 650.5 receiving yards at minus 110. Don't forget, in the SportsLine Discord, PropStarz has already put all of his positions in the NFL tab. So check that out. The links, this one is from Mackenzie, minus 6.5 at minus 110. And then we got a SportsLine pick. Mike Soroka under 17.5 outs at minus 130. That one courtesy of Prop Bet Guy. And I do want to tell you, yeah, I'm so glad Ben brought this up. This thing has been red hot. The SportsLine model came through in a gigantic way yesterday. Let's see what happens today. Aranda, Alonzo, Langford. SportsLine model sees value in all 3 of those home run plays. All right. Ian Lights Out says the shirts are very comfy. They are. It's like the good cotton. It's not the cheap cotton. So Ian Lights Out, thanks for pointing that out. And Ian, thank you for being there. Thanks for being to the after party thing as well. It wasn't much of a quote party. We were all just kind of hanging out. But Richard Pierre, again, so many of you, thank you for being there. But the ones who missed it, I know you want to be there too. So I'm going to thank you ahead of time for coming to the next one. We're going to give you plenty of notice. We're going to make it at a date that's very convenient to you. It's all going to be what we're going to keep doing this thing. So we really appreciate everybody's participation. On behalf of Mackenzie, on behalf of PropStarz, Larry and Ben's on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. This is the Early Edge, and we rest our case.